The usual attempted election fix is in. That is the way the overwhelming majority of the media, and especially most of the Canberra Press Gallery, gets on board with Labor, the Greens and the Teals, essentially gives the left a rails run, saving their attacks for the coalition. You know the story. We showed you earlier this week how the 9 media newspapers and 60 Minutes produced a disturbing update on the CFMEU, how this powerful union allegedly was engaged in bullying, standover tactics, extortion, and was in bed with organised crime and bikie gangs. Until halfway through last year, this union had a representative on the ALP National Executive, and it donated millions of dollars to Labor, even though it behaved like a criminal franchise. Nine's report showed shocking cases of abusive behaviour against women, including vision of a union health and safety officer bashing a woman during his lunch break. And a warning, this is distressing. Just sickening stuff. And what's worse is that Labor says it's known about this for years. Here's a senior minister on the ABC this morning.
We never expected that this would be an issue that would be solved overnight. I mean, this has been deeply embedded corruption and criminality, both within this one union, but also the wider construction industry, and it's been going on for years.
Yeah, it's been going on for years, and over those years, Labor was happy to have this union on its executive, and it was happy to accept millions of dollars in donations. What's worse, even the current government has included the union in government grants supporting women in construction.
Yes, what we were advised in approving these grants around all of the partners who were part of it. That includes the CFMEU.
Talk about throwing good taxpayers' money after bad. Now, given all this, you'd think there are some serious questions for the Prime Minister. Shouldn't Albanese be asked whether the Labor Party will return all of the donations it received over the years from the CFMEU? Perhaps it could donate them to charity instead. Shouldn't Albanese be asked why his first act as Prime Minister was to axe the building and construction watchdog that was tackling the CFMEU and other rogue unions? Shouldn't Albanese be asked what all this tells us about the treatment of women in the Labor movement? And shouldn't Albanese be asked why he's continued to funnel government grants to the CFMEU? That's not to mention, of course, how these extortionate practices have pushed up building costs. But here's the kicker. Until earlier today, Anthony Albanese has not been asked a single question about this. The Prime Minister dodged the media on Monday after the story broke, but since then he'd done at least 6 media interviews and had not been asked a single question about the CFMEU and Labor. Just imagine the Canberra press pack if someone linked to the coalition was filmed bashing a woman. Just imagine the ABC if a major donor to the coalition was embroiled in criminality. But for Labor and Albo, so many in the media were struck dumb. And then, at his press conference this morning, when Albo was finally asked one question by our own Lauren Forbes, of course, listen to the short shrift it gets from the Prime Minister.
What did you make of the treatment of women, those allegations that surfaced from that 60 Minutes report?
Oh, they were appalling.
That's all he said. That's all he said. It was appalling. Of course it was. But what's Labor doing about it? What's Albanese doing about it? Doesn't he have anything more to say? Why is he still giving taxpayers' money to the CFMEU? Why has Labor kept its CFMEU donations? Why doesn't Labor tackle sexism in the union movement? Sadly, it's unlikely the ABC or most of the Canberra Press Gallery will pursue any of this. It just doesn't fit their narrative. It's worth pointing out that unlike most of the workforce, most journalists are union members.